Hello lovely viewers, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful News official YouTube channel, your top destination for the most explosive CBS soap updates. Make sure to smash that subscribe button and give this video a huge thumbs up. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for Friday, July 18th, reveal that Bill Spencer will get Liam Spencer's MRI results while Grace Buckingham's plan starts to deteriorate. Now that Liam has apparently had his rearmost MRI and headed home to recover at his pater's place, Bill is holding out stopgap for evidence that he's cured. Since Grace has gotten Bill agitated about a miraculous outgrowth, that's what he's counting on. Liam's new nanny promised to reveal the MRI results as soon as they were transferred over, so will they confirm that Liam's excrescence is fully gone? There's a good chance they indeed will, since those results will presumably be part of Grace's apparent fiddle. It's doubtful that Liam truly had the MRI or indeed a real brain surgery other than Grace's gash on his head. Liam's excrescence was presumably bogus from the get-go and a way to move Bill to shoot that $1 million that he wired. Although Grace has the plutocrat she needs to pay off the person who's been making demands over the phone, her scheme is on the verge of falling piecemeal. Bill was on speakerphone when he revealed about Grace's experimental surgery with a co-worker, so now STEFFY Forrester, Hope Logan, John Finnegan and Bridget Forrester all have plenitude of questions. Hope and STEFFY may continue to concentrate on the fact that Liam may survive after all. Bill's updates filled them with stopgap, but Bridget and Finn will obviously suppose the rearmost news sounds sketchy. Grace's jest isn't adding up at all, so Finn and Bridget may launch a battle with her soon enough. Next on Friday's B&B occasion, Ridge Forrester, Brooke Logan and Taylor Hayes will partake a surprising moment of peace, and Liam will be the reason why. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Taylor, Brooke and Ridge will all agree that Liam deserves to live, so they'll find common ground. The Bold and the Beautiful recap for Thursday, July 17th, indicates that Liam Spencer's homecoming stunned Hope Logan and STEFFY Forrester. Bill Spencer also revealed his son's secret treatment, so that's how Thursday's instigated B&B occasion went down. At the private surgical center, Grace Buckingham said she was transferring Liam off for an MRI and assured Bill that he could go home after that. Bill was shocked since Liam just had major surgery, but Grace claimed they'd put him in an ambulance, give him a nanny and set him up with everything he demanded at Bill's place. At the sanitarium, John Finnegan and Bridget Forrester raised further enterprises about Liam being released so soon. Bridget had to believe a good croaker. Like Grace was acting in Liam's stylish interests when she approved that. Finn called STEFFY, who put it on speakerphone so that Hope could get updates on Liam, too. Both Hope and STEFFY were stunned to learn that Liam had been released into Bill's care. Finn admitted that Dr. Buckingham approved it, but STEFFY and Hope were still nonplussed and upset. Back with Bridget, she called to ask about Grace's whereabouts and learned she was indeed in the structure. Hope and STEFFY also arrived at the sanitarium hoping to make sense of all this. At the surgical center again, Bill assured Grace that $1 million transfer was done, so she was pleased. Grace answered a phone call and told the person on the other end not to worry since it was passing now. After Grace claimed she couldn't talk and disconnected, Liam returned from his MRI and groggily took Bill's hand. Grace refocused out that the results would be in laterally and would hopefully confirm the full excrescence junking, but he could go ahead and take Liam home. Once Bill expressed how thankful he was, he ultimately got Liam settled in a room at his manse. A nanny was also there, so Bill asked her about the MRI results and learned she'd partake them once they were transferred over. Bill eventually called STEFFY, who put him on speakerphone so that Finn, Bridget and Hope could hear the rearmost Liam news as well. Once Bill revealed that Liam had an experimental procedure performed by Dr. Buckingham and her co-worker, Finn and the others were shocked, especially since Liam had formerly been transferred home. Bill refocused out that this gave Liam a chance to live before hanging up. Hope and STEFFY realized Beth Spencer and Kelly Spencer might not lose their pater. After all, so they were hopeful. After Bill turned his attention back to Liam, he declared that this had to work and that Liam was going to be cured. At Il Giardino, Deacon Sharp idolized on Sheila Sharp and felt she was an idol like Liam. Nearly losing Sheila rattled Cleric, but she offered reassurance. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for the week of July 21st reveal there will be some marvels and stunners. What's Liam Spencer's fate after fading from the surgical center? Bill Spencer will surely be questioned, especially if he keeps the case in caching. Plus, Grace Buckingham got a huge lucre, but her story isn't over just yet. Keep reading and let's talk about what's coming up in the CBS cleaner pieces. Liam Spencer's fate suckers know that Bill told Grace that he'd write her a blank check if Liam survives. The croaker. And her co-worker did the secret surgery and claimed it was a success. While the excrescence has been removed, according to Grace, there are still a lot of pitfalls and unknowns until Liam wakes up. So far, Liam is still unconscious. In fact, latterly this week, Bill drags an unconscious Liam out of the sanitarium. So, coming week will probably show us Bill's plan. Is he working with Grace? Will she come to the house and take care of Liam? Why not do this in a sanitarium in case of complications? Bridget Forrester suspicious suckers know that Bridget Forrester shocked when Liam went missing from the sanitarium. Bridget went to John Finnegan, but he didn't feel as concerned. Eventually, Bridget and Finn learned that Grace had discharged Liam, but that didn't make sense to either croaker. Also, they assumed that Bill was involved, as he'd do anything to save his son's life. Still, now that Liam has had the experimental procedure, will Grace tell everyone the verity? Or will they keep it a secret until Liam wakes up? Taylor Hayes threat the bold and the beautiful spoilers for coming week reveal that Taylor Hayes will get decreasingly nervous. She's looking forward to sealing the deal with Ridge Forrester, but she's paranoid about Brooke Logan. Eric Forrester invited Brooke to tag along on a trip with him and Ridge. Latterly, Nick Marone invited Brooke to fly with him to Italy. We know that Ridge and Brooke will be in Italy together at the same time as Nick. So, it sounds like Bridge likely reunites, and Taylor will end up with another broken heart. The storm didn't begin with thunder, it began with a whisper at Forrester Creations, a name uttered in hushed tones behind closed office doors, Reese Buckingham. When STEFFY Forrester first overheard it from a passing conversation between Pam and an intern, she froze, her blood turning to ice, as if her body knew before her brain could confirm he was out. The man who orchestrated one of the most devastating betrayals of her life, who stole Phoebe from her and sold her under false pretenses, had been released. At first, Steffi laughed, a dry, disbelieving chuckle, but as the evidence mounted and her inbox lit up with quiet warnings from old allies in the medical board and legal community, the laughter faded. Her hands trembled as she closed her laptop in her office and stared out at the LA skyline, realizing that monsters don't stay buried, they find a way back. But what she wasn't prepared for was what came next. It wasn't just Reese's freedom that rattled her to her core, it was the fact that he wasn't alone. Her suspicions ignited like wildfire when she saw Grace Buckingham, Reese's once-respected ex-wife and Luna's meddling grandmother, emerge from Il Giardino, exchanging a tight, almost nervous hug with none other than Reese himself in the parking lot, looking around as if avoiding being seen. Her pulse thundered in her ears as she snapped a photo from the safety of her car, her mind screaming, "What the hell is Grace doing with him?" When she confronted Finn, her husband, with the information later that night, his reaction was telling. He wasn't surprised, not entirely. "I didn't want to bring this up, Steffi," Finn said cautiously, rubbing his hands together, "but I've heard rumors Grace has been making calls to her old contacts, people tied to Reese's former clinics. She may have helped him with his release." The words were like knives to Steffi's ears. "She what?" she whispered, her voice a slow crescendo of fury. The next day, she burst into Forrester's conference room, interrupting a meeting between Hope, Zend, and Grace herself. "You lying, manipulative snake," Steffi hissed, throwing the photo down on the table. "You're working with him again, aren't you?" Grace's eyes widened, then narrowed. "You don't understand the full story," she said defensively. "Try me," Steffi snapped. The room emptied quickly, Hope dragging Zend out of the way as the tension grew molten hot. Grace's facade cracked. "Reese isn't the man you think he is anymore, he's changed, he's trying to start over, he sold my child," Steffi roared. "He tore apart my family. And now you, a woman who works around children, who claim to care about this family, you're helping him walk the streets like nothing happened." Her voice broke into tremors of rage. Grace tried to push back with moral excuses, claiming Reese had suffered enough, that he was a victim of the system, but Steffi wasn't listening. The betrayal was too personal. You kept this from all of us, Luna, Finn, Ridge, you helped him behind our backs. You're no better than he is. Steffi's voice reverberated through the walls, enough for Brooke to come in mid-argument. Grace was stunned as Steffi threatened to expose everything, Grace's past payments to certain officials, phone records, even the rehabilitation center Reese was allegedly released into early. If you think I won't burn down your career and have you blacklisted from every medical and psychological institution in California, think again, Steffi warned. That night, as Steffi sat alone in her living room, replaying the moment she held baby Phoebe, only to have her ripped away, the flames of her trauma reignited. She called Liam, needing someone who remembered what it felt like. He listened quietly and offered steady support, stunned by the news. Do you want me to do anything? He asked gently. No, Steffi said, her voice steel. I'm going to handle this myself. But Grace didn't back down. Days later, she confronted Steffi outside Forrester. I did what I thought was right, for Luna, for Reese, for the truth, Grace said. Reese is Luna's father, and Luna deserves the chance to know him. Steffi's jaw dropped. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Grace nodded slowly. Yes. Reese is Luna's real father. Not some donor. And he came back because he wants to be part of her life. And yes, I helped him. The ground felt like it crumbled beneath Steffi's designer heels. This secret wasn't just betrayal, it was a ticking time bomb. You're going to tell Luna, Steffi demanded. Or I will. Meanwhile, the news spread like wildfire among the Forresters. Ridge cornered Grace at Forrester's design lab, fury in his eyes. You brought that maniac back into our lives, he said coldly. And you lied to my daughter's face. I protected my family, Grace countered. Don't talk to me about protection, Ridge seethed. You've endangered everyone. Even Taylor, upon hearing the news from Finn, was overcome with disbelief. He can't be near children. He shouldn't be practicing anything, she murmured. We trusted you, Grace. The drama unfolded further when Sheila Carter, yes, even Sheila, heard about Reese's return and issued a cold warning at Il Giardino. I know a con when I see one, she told Grace with an unsettling smirk. And if you think you can outplay the Forresters, think again. You brought this beast out of his cage, and now you have to deal with the claws. But the most heartbreaking confrontation was yet to come. Steffi finally sat down with Luna, who had begun to suspect something was off. I need to tell you something, Steffi began, tears brimming in her eyes. About your mother. And your real father. Luna's world shattered that day. She stormed into Grace's apartment, where Reese, freshly shaved and smug in his arrogance, was waiting. So it's true, she asked, her voice trembling. You're my father? Reese rose, arms outstretched. Yes, Luna. And I want to make things right. You don't get to say that, Luna snapped. You don't get to waltz back into my life after what you've done. She turned on Grace. And you, how could you keep this from me? As Grace tried to explain, Luna walked out. The baptism of truth had begun, and no one walked away clean. Encouraging words from loved ones tried to soothe the burn, hope reassured Luna that she was still family, Finn promised to protect her from further damage, and even Steffi, hardened by grief, offered Luna one final olive branch, you are not your parents' sins. But you must decide who you want to be. Still, the air buzzed with the aftershock. Angry threats from Steffi loomed over Grace like a guillotine. If he so much as breathes near Kelly or Hayes, she said quietly one night over the phone to Grace, I will make sure he doesn't just go back to prison, I'll make sure the door slams forever. The City of Angels had become a battlefield of secrets, betrayals, and shocking truths, but one thing was clear, the baptism had begun, the cleansing flood of truth was underway, and not everyone would be saved. The morning sunlight streamed through the grand windows of the Spencer estate, casting a golden glow over Bill Spencer's sharply lined face as he paced back and forth like a lion in a gilded cage. His hands clenched his phone, his eyes locked on the screen as he awaited one life-changing notification, the results of Liam Spencer's MRI. Just days ago, Liam had been fighting for his life, allegedly undergoing a radical brain surgery to remove a life-threatening tumor. But now, as Bill waited in anxious silence, it was becoming more apparent that not everything was as it seemed. And the truth, when it surfaced, would either set them free or burn them all to ash. This was supposed to be the beginning of healing. A new chapter. A baptism of sorts. One where pain was washed away and second chances were gifted. Bill had clung to that belief like a lifeline, trusting Dr. Grace Buckingham, the enigmatic physician who promised salvation. But now, whispers were turning to screams. And the miracle he paid $1 million for was unraveling, thread by thread. Just hours ago, Liam had returned home, groggy and pale, placed into the care of a private nurse at Bill's mansion. Grace had been quick to reassure Bill, her voice filled with confidence, that the surgery had gone smoothly and that Liam's MRI would soon confirm the tumor's complete removal. But that's exactly what Finn and Bridget found suspicious. Why was Liam released so quickly after invasive brain surgery? Why were no hospital records available? And why wasn't Grace anywhere to be found when Bridget checked the surgical center? At the hospital, Bridget was furious, confusion dancing behind her tired eyes. As a doctor herself, she knew standard protocol. None of this made sense. Where the hell is Grace? She muttered under her breath, dialing her phone for the 4th time. Still no answer. She and Finn exchanged glances, both were beginning to suspect that Grace's credibility was a facade. Something far darker was at play. Meanwhile, at the Forrester estate, Steffi Forrester and Hope Logan were still reeling from Liam's sudden homecoming. The last they had heard, Liam was still in recovery. But then came the bombshell. Bill had called, putting the entire conversation on speakerphone for Finn, Hope, Bridget, and Steffi to hear. He proudly announced that Liam had undergone a top-secret, experimental procedure orchestrated by Dr. Buckingham and her elusive colleague. The reaction was immediate. "What do you mean experimental?" Steffi demanded, eyes wide. Hope was near tears, clutching her phone as if holding on to Liam's life itself. Is he okay?" Bill's voice cracked, a rare break in his armor. "He's alive. That's all that matters right now." But alive wasn't enough. Not for Hope. Not for Steffi. And not for Finn or Bridget, who could already smell the rot beneath Grace's polished veneer. They knew this wasn't medicine, it was manipulation. And it was time someone stopped it. Back at Spencer Publications, Bill stood over Liam's bed. The young man was semi-conscious, murmuring softly, as the nurse adjusted the foredrip. Bill brushed Liam's hair back, his voice low and filled with fatherly devotion. "You're going to be okay, son. This has to work. It has to." But even Bill's voice trembled now. The blind faith he'd poured into Grace's hands was wavering, and shadows of doubt danced in the corners of his mind. And elsewhere, danger loomed. Because Grace wasn't gone. She wasn't missing. She was hiding. In a parking garage somewhere in Los Angeles, she crouched in the back seat of her rented car, whispering furiously into her burner phone. "It's done. He's home. He looks alive," she snapped. The voice on the other end, a deep, distorted male voice, growled, "Then get the money. I want all of it. Or I tell everyone." Grace swallowed hard. The $1 million wire transfer from Bill had hit her account, but it was no longer about money. This was about survival. Her secret partner was getting greedy, and reckless. At Il Giardino, Deacon Sharp sat across from Sheila Carter, his fingers laced with hers. They spoke in hushed tones, reflecting on the strange twist of fate that had Liam and Sheila both branded as survivors. Sheila, the infamous pariah, was now being viewed as a heroine by some, thanks to her role in protecting Deacon during a bar fight earlier that week. But her eyes kept drifting toward her phone. "I have a feeling something big is about to explode," she muttered. "You and me both," Deacon agreed. Back at the hospital, the tension exploded as Bridget and Finn stormed into the hospital's administration office. With Steffi and Hope hot on their heels, they demanded answers. When they learned that no official record of Liam's surgery had been filed, no documentation, no MRI appointment in the database, they realized they had been played. Bridget's voice trembled with fury as she said, "She lied. Grace lied. And Liam's life is hanging in the balance." But if Bridget thought confronting Grace would be easy, she was wrong. Because Grace had already begun cleaning her tracks, deleting files, tossing burner phones, and preparing to vanish. Meanwhile, across town, Ridge Forrester, Taylor Hayes, and Brooke Logan shared a rare moment of unity. In the past, the trio had clashed like storm clouds in an endless thunderstorm. But now, with Liam's life teetering in the balance, they found solace in common ground. "Whatever our history is," Brooke began, "we can agree on one thing: Liam deserves to live." Taylor nodded, eyes misty. This could be a second chance for him. A baptism into something brighter. Ridge's voice was steady, but there was steel behind his words. "Then let's make damn sure no one takes that away from him." And just like that, the trio made a silent pact, not just to support Liam, but to get to the truth, no matter the cost. The following morning, a loud knock echoed through the Spencer mansion. Bill opened the door to find Finn, Bridget, Steffi, and Hope standing there, none of them smiling. Bridget stepped forward first. "Where is he?" she demanded.